There's a moment that many older adults describe, and it tends to catch them off guard the first time it happens. You go to lift something that used to feel light, a bag of groceries, a grandchild, a piece of furniture you've moved a dozen times before, and you realize it feels heavier than it should, not because the object has changed, but because something in your body has. Or maybe you notice it in the mirror, a subtle softening in the arms or legs, a sense that the strength you once took for granted has been quietly stepping back, a little at a time, for longer than you realized. If that resonates with you, if you've had a moment like that, or you've simply been wondering why your body feels different than it did 10 or 15 years ago, today's conversation is for you. We're going to talk about a food that researchers have found to be exceptionally rich in protein. More protein per gram, studies suggest, than eggs. A food that many people haven't fully considered in the context of muscle health and aging. And we're going to talk about why this matters so much specifically for people over 50, and what the science says about how protein and muscle loss are connected. Before we go any further, I want to be clear, I'm sharing this for educational purposes only. Please speak with your doctor or healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. Nutrition is deeply individual, and what works well for one person may need to be adjusted for another. This is a conversation for older adults who want to understand their bodies and nourish them more intentionally. For caregivers who want to support the people they love in staying strong and independent, and for anyone who has felt the quiet worry that comes with noticing their strength isn't quite what it was. Let me begin with some context, because the picture becomes much clearer when you understand what's actually happening inside the body as we age. There is a condition that researchers call sarcopenia. The word comes from the Greek, sarx, meaning flesh, and penia, meaning loss. Sarcopenia simply means the gradual loss of muscle mass and muscle strength that comes with aging. It's not a disease in the traditional sense. It's a biological process, but its effects on daily life can be profound. Research suggests that most adults begin losing muscle mass gradually from around their 30s or 40s, but the rate of loss tends to accelerate after 50 and again after 65. Studies have found that without intervention, the average older adult loses somewhere between 3 and 8% of their muscle mass per decade, and that number can be higher for people who are less active or who don't consume enough protein. Why does that matter so deeply? Because muscle is not just about how we look or how much we can lift. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It plays a role in blood sugar regulation, in immune function, in the strength of bones, and most visibly in the ability to do the things that make daily life feel manageable and enjoyable. Getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, walking to a friend's house, maintaining balance well enough to avoid falls. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury in older adults, and research has consistently found that muscle strength is one of the most important factors in fall prevention. When muscle mass declines, stability and reaction time decline with it, and the risks that come with that are very real. The good news, and there is genuinely good news here, is that sarcopenia is not inevitable in its most severe form. Research has found that two things have a meaningful impact on the rate of muscle loss as we age: physical activity, particularly resistance-based movement, and protein intake. And of those two, protein is the one that many older adults are quietly and consistently falling short on. So let's talk about protein, and specifically about the food that is the subject of today's conversation. Eggs have long been considered the gold standard of dietary protein. They're complete, meaning they contain all the essential amino acids the body needs. They're affordable, accessible, and easy to prepare. For muscle health, they're genuinely excellent. But research suggests there is a food that actually contains more protein per serving, with an equally impressive or even superior amino acid profile. That food is Greek yogurt, specifically the strained, full-fat or low-fat variety that has become increasingly common in grocery stores over the past decade. A standard serving of Greek yogurt, around 170 to 200 grams, typically contains somewhere between 15 and 20 grams of protein. A large egg, by comparison, contains around 6 grams. To match what a single serving of Greek yogurt provides, you would need to eat 3 or more eggs. But the protein comparison alone doesn't capture why researchers find Greek yogurt so interesting for older adults and muscle health. The story goes deeper than that, and it begins with the specific type of protein Greek yogurt contains. Greek yogurt is particularly rich in a protein called casein, alongside a meaningful amount of whey protein. These two proteins behave differently in the body, and that difference is genuinely relevant to muscle maintenance. Whey protein is fast-acting. It's absorbed relatively quickly, and studies have found that it triggers a rapid but shorter burst of muscle protein synthesis, the process by which the body builds and repairs muscle tissue. This is why whey protein is often associated with post-exercise recovery. Casein, on the other hand, is slow-releasing. It digests gradually, providing a steady, sustained supply of amino acids to the muscles over several hours. Research suggests this slow-release quality makes casein particularly valuable for older adults because it continues supplying the building materials for muscle repair even during the hours when we're not eating, including overnight during sleep. Some researchers have described the combination of whey and casein in Greek yogurt as a particularly well-rounded protein source for muscle support, one that provides both the immediate and the sustained supply of amino acids that aging muscles need. There's also an amino acid worth mentioning specifically. Leucine, which we've discussed in other conversations, is considered the most important amino acid for triggering muscle protein synthesis. Research has found that a certain threshold of leucine is needed in a single serving of food to meaningfully stimulate the muscle-building process. Greek yogurt contains a meaningful amount of leucine, and studies suggest that the protein in Greek yogurt may be particularly effective at stimulating muscle protein synthesis in older adults when consumed as part of a meal or snack. Beyond its protein profile, Greek yogurt has a nutritional composition that addresses several other concerns that commonly affect older adults. The first is bone health. Greek yogurt is a significant source of calcium, one of the primary minerals required for maintaining bone density. As we age, bone density naturally decreases, and the combination of declining muscle mass and reduced bone density creates a particular vulnerability. Research has found that adequate calcium intake, alongside vitamin D and physical activity, supports the maintenance of bone density over time. Greek yogurt provides calcium in a form that is well absorbed by the body. The second is gut health. Greek yogurt, when it contains live cultures, which you'll see noted on the label as live and active cultures, or specific bacterial names like lactobacillus or bifidobacterium, is a source of probiotics. Probiotics are live microorganisms that research suggests may support the health of the gut microbiome, which in turn influences nutrient absorption, immune function, and even inflammatory markers in the body. This last point is particularly relevant for muscle health. Research has found that the gut microbiome plays a role in how efficiently the body absorbs protein and amino acids from food. A healthier gut environment may mean that the protein you eat is used more effectively, which matters more as we age and our digestive efficiency naturally decreases. The third benefit is the protein's effect on appetite regulation. Many older adults experience a natural reduction in appetite, a phenomenon researchers sometimes call anorexia of aging. When appetite decreases, protein intake often drops first because protein-rich foods tend to require more preparation and more digestive effort than carbohydrate-heavy foods. Greek yogurt addresses this directly. It's soft, easy to eat, requires no cooking, and is genuinely satisfying. Studies have found that high-protein foods like Greek yogurt may help regulate appetite hormones and support a feeling of fullness, which can actually encourage more consistent eating throughout the day, something that matters for maintaining adequate overall nutrition. Now, let me address something that comes up fairly often in conversations about dairy and protein. Some people wonder whether their body can actually absorb and use the protein in Greek yogurt as efficiently as it does protein from meat or eggs. It's a fair question. Research suggests that dairy proteins, including the casein and whey in Greek yogurt, are among the most bioavailable proteins available. Bioavailability simply means the percentage of the protein you consume that your body is actually able to absorb and use. On this measure, dairy proteins score very highly, comparably to egg protein, and in some contexts more effectively than many plant proteins because of their complete amino acid profile. There is also a practical consideration worth mentioning for older adults: texture. For people who find chewing more difficult or who have dental concerns or who simply find that their appetite is better served by soft, easy foods, Greek yogurt offers full-spectrum protein in a form that requires almost no chewing at all. That accessibility matters enormously in real life. Let me also talk about something that many people find surprising when they first hear it. Research suggests that when and how you eat protein matters, not just how much you eat overall. Studies have found that the body's capacity to use protein for muscle synthesis is more effective when protein is distributed across multiple meals through the day, rather than consumed mostly at one meal. Many older adults eat relatively little protein at breakfast and lunch, and then have a protein-rich dinner. And research suggests this pattern may not be as effective for muscle maintenance as spreading protein more evenly. Greek yogurt is an exceptionally practical way to add meaningful protein to the earlier parts of the day. A bowl of Greek yogurt at breakfast. A small serving as a mid-morning snack. Greek yogurt as part of a light lunch. These are easy, low-effort ways to shift the protein distribution across the day in a way that research suggests may better support muscle protein synthesis. Some research has also looked specifically at protein consumption before sleep, and this is where casein's slow-releasing nature becomes particularly interesting. Studies have found that consuming a casein-rich food in the evening may support overnight muscle protein synthesis, essentially giving the body more of what it needs to do its repair work during sleep. A small bowl of Greek yogurt in the evening, perhaps with a few berries, is one of the simplest ways to act on this research. Let me now talk about what Greek yogurt looks like in the context of a practical, ordinary day, because I think it's important that none of this feels abstract or difficult to apply. In the morning, a bowl of plain Greek yogurt with some fresh fruit, a small handful of nuts or seeds, and perhaps a drizzle of honey is a breakfast that takes about 3 minutes to prepare and provides a genuinely substantial protein foundation for the day. It requires no cooking, it requires no particular skill, and it pairs well with other foods in a way that makes it flexible. Through the day, Greek yogurt can be used as a base for salad dressings, mixed with a little lemon juice and herbs, or as a substitute for cream in soups, or stirred through warm dishes at the end of cooking. It can be frozen into simple desserts. It can be eaten plain, with a spoon, as an afternoon snack that takes 60 seconds of preparation and provides 15 to 20 grams of protein. In the evening, as we discussed, a small bowl with some berries or a little honey provides a gentle, protein-rich, easily digestible close to the day's eating. The versatility and accessibility of Greek yogurt is one of the things that makes it genuinely useful as a nutritional strategy. Not just a food that's impressive on paper, but difficult to incorporate in real life. There are a few things worth knowing when choosing Greek yogurt, because not all varieties are equally useful. Plain Greek yogurt, without added flavors or sweeteners, is generally what nutrition researchers refer to when they discuss its benefits. Flavored varieties often contain significant amounts of added sugar, which can offset some of the nutritional value and may be a consideration for people monitoring blood sugar. If you find plain Greek yogurt too sharp in flavor, adding a small amount of fresh fruit, A tiny drizzle of honey, or a pinch of cinnamon, gives you control over the sweetness without the levels of added sugar found in many commercial-flavored varieties. Full-fat Greek yogurt tends to have a richer, creamier texture and may be more palatable for people with reduced appetite. The higher fat content makes it more calorie-dense and satisfying. Low-fat or non-fat versions have a higher protein-to-calorie ratio, which some people prefer. Neither is definitively better. It depends on individual nutritional needs and preferences, which is exactly the kind of thing to discuss with a doctor or dietitian. The live cultures matter. Look for labels that indicate the yogurt contains live and active cultures. Some heat-treated yogurts have the cultures killed during processing, which means you get the protein benefits without the probiotic benefits. For gut health and the protein absorption advantages that come with it, the live cultures are worth seeking out. I want to close today by bringing the bigger picture into focus. Muscle loss after 50 is real. Its effects on independence, on confidence, on the quality of ordinary daily life are real. And the feeling of wanting to do something about it, of not wanting to simply accept a body that feels weaker than it should, that feeling is not vanity. It's not unreasonable. It is a completely legitimate and healthy desire to stay strong and capable for as long as possible. The body you are living in right now is responding to everything you give it, not in dramatic overnight ways, but steadily, quietly, over weeks and months. The protein you eat today becomes part of the muscle tissue your body maintains tomorrow. The habits you build this week become the physical foundation you're living on next year. Greek yogurt is not a cure for sarcopenia. No single food is. But it is a genuinely valuable, evidence-supported, affordable, and accessible tool in the larger effort to maintain strength and vitality as we age. And that larger effort, the choosing of nourishing foods, the gentle daily movement, the conversations with doctors, the paying of attention to what the body needs, that effort is one of the most meaningful things you can do for yourself. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel capable. And the research says clearly that building toward that, at whatever age, is worth the effort. If today's conversation gave you something useful, a new food to try, a different way of thinking about protein, a question to bring to your doctor, I would genuinely love to hear about it in the comments below. Tell me whether Greek yogurt is already part of your routine, or whether this conversation has made you want to try it. If you have someone in your life who is noticing changes in their strength, or a parent or spouse who you worry isn't eating enough protein, please share this with them. Sometimes a gentle, informative conversation is exactly the nudge someone needs to make a small but meaningful change. And please, talk to your doctor about your muscle health. Ask whether your protein intake is adequate for your age and activity level. Ask what signs of sarcopenia look like and whether there are any you should be aware of. These are important conversations that deserve to happen with someone who knows your full health picture. Take good care of yourselves, eat well, move when you can, and be kind to the body that is still, every day, doing its best for you.